others who fellowship with you have to have a sensitive spirit in exercising the gift of generosity.
Yeah. Another thing this does is enables home fellowship networks to go after seminary students. Okay? There's a lot of guys who go to seminary who expect to go to a congregation and be paid. And there's nothing wrong with that. The fact of the matter is, elders in the first century church, most of whom were laity, okay, were paid. They were supported full time. This is just a historical fact. A lot of them were slaves. A lot of them were given freedom by their masters and weren't slaves anymore. They were full-time ministers in the Church of God and supported by the members financially. That's just the way it is. But what this will do is enable home fellowship networks to, for lack of a better term, go after the seminary students and offer them a place of leadership. When they get out of seminary, okay, and to me that's powerful, okay, and because of the fact you don't have all that all that overhead that people deal with and all the politics, you'd probably be able to pay them more than they would make in the institutional church in a lot of cases, okay, which the institutional church is very top heavy on overhead. Most of these churches have $500,000 a year budgets. So, if the economy gets tough, it may open up a whole nother opportunity for home fellowships. But I know I get a lot of heat on this, but it's just the way it is.
So are those who give you disagreement with that the leader of a home fellowship receive monetary assistance, are they then saying that elders are to be bivocational?
Yeah. Which what they're saying is the ministry of elders a part-time job
Or a hobby?
or a hobby? Yeah.
Just something extra that you do on the side.
Right.
And that denies what God has mentioned in His Word about the calling.
Yeah, and
In the book of Acts, it talks about, some of you are called to be teachers, preachers, evangelists, and all of this. So if that's a calling, I would assume that would be a full-time, not a part-time calling.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, God would then expect the assembly to support that calling.
Right, and you see the model in the book of Acts where, Peter said that, look, me and the guys shouldn't be bogged down with serving tables. Peter didn't think he was too good to do it. This just gets back to exactly what Paul has said. Those who have been giving the gift of service in service, okay? That's how I kind of take that, although I didn't study it real deep. That's how I kind of take it, okay? He said that him and the other apostles, or teachers, the other leaders, needed to focus on the quote, ministry of the word, okay, and prayer, all right? And so they got Stephen and these other guys to take care of the Greek widows. Yeah, you know, and there's so much of the organizational part of it to consider. The widows list, you know, I've never been in a church that had a widows list. Okay, that's where women who are widows and meet certain qualifications are taken care of by the church, and in turn they have this like full-time ministry that they do, ministering to other people. Okay, so you know, it's what it is. Lots of things to consider, and requires really a radical new direction. You know,
Way of thinking.
well, yeah, absolutely, a totally new way of thinking about all these things. Any other questions, comments? So I hope the illustrations on the Bible software and how that works was helpful.
It was to me, because I had no clue how that worked.
Yeah, and this is the laptop you're using, by the way, so it's on there, all ready to use for you. Well, if there isn't anything else, we'll wrap it up for tonight.
Well, you made it through. I was worried about, you should have called on somebody else to read those long portions of scripture, huh?